sir.
Ah, ATSV. What's up?
What are you doing?
I'm working on the next two videos, actually. I've got a Spider-Man skins wish list for Fortnite, some skins I want to see there, and I've got a video on the Venom game, whether it's real, whether it's not real, the leaks about it. I want to talk about that. It seems interesting.
Are you aware they're cooking you in the comments?
What? Oh my god. Hello, true believers, and welcome back to Sight to Astonish. Yeah, there were a lot of people telling me that I was wrong in the comments, saying that this movie was incredible and that my ranking of the skins was incorrect, and, you know, telling me that I'm crazy for thinking that the movie is as bad as I was saying it was in that video. Which, might I add, I didn't say it was bad, I just said I wasn't a fan of it. So I sat there and I thought, well, I'm currently working on 2 other videos, but I'll watch the movie and then if my thoughts change, I'll make a video. Well,
I made another mistake.
Yeah, I literally just got done watching the movie. I rewatched it. I've rewatched it a couple times. And without any of the struggle from when I first watched it, and without any of the mindset from all the news that came out shortly after it came out, because I'll admit, it's been a while since I've seen the movie. Yeah, this movie's really, really good. But before we get into the weeds of this video and talk about what I do like and what I don't like about the Spider-Verse movies, I just want to thank every single person that's subscribed recently. It has been a goal of mine to reach 1,000 subscribers, and we have rocketed past that to like 1,300 as of me writing this. Thank you guys so much for the support on the last video. It's done numbers, and I cannot thank you more than enough. With that being said,
True believers, get me to 2,000 followers and my life is yours.
that's right, I believe we can do it. We got to 1,000 off that Fortnite video. Thank you so much. I would love to reach 2,000 subscribers. We are almost there already. It's weird to think that I went from being nowhere near 2,000 subscribers just last week to being just over a quarter of the way there, and that's all thanks to you wonderful people who, for some reason, really enjoyed my terrible, terrible takes. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for helping me reach a goal I never ever thought I would reach on YouTube. And man, the response to that video has been crazy. There have been some negative comments, there have been some positive comments, there have been so many comments blasting me for my terrible ranking. But thank you so much if you left a comment on that last video, and if you subscribed. It means the world to me. I cannot genuinely thank any of you enough. So let's get back into the video. I had a lot of gripes about the ending, but I do think it does end pretty solidly. I will still say that I'm not happy with the way it ends, but watching it now, all those years later, with all that time removed from when it released, you know, it's been about 4 years. We know that the sequel is coming at some point in the next 2 years. I think, yeah, it softens the blow. It makes the movie a lot better. I do think that ending works if you're not expecting to have the next movie sooner rather than later. But hey, I can be wrong. I'm glad that I was wrong, if I'm honest, because now I have another Spider-Man movie that I think's really good. That doesn't mean I don't have problems with it, though. I do still have problems. But first, I want to get into the Spider-Verse and tell you what I like about that movie, because the misconception was that I hate all of the Spider-Verse movies, and I don't. It was just Across the Spider-Verse that I didn't like.
Alright, let's do this one last time.
I really like Into the Spider-Verse. It is perfection. I think that they do such a good job with Into the Spider-Verse over Across the Spider-Verse, because I feel like Into the Spider-Verse is a product where you can feel the love poured into every inch of it, whereas I don't feel that as much with Across the Spider-Verse. Yes, it's still made with love, but I just don't think that it's made with the time and the care that Into the Spider-Verse got, and with that, I feel like I can see the sort of issues with this movie, and I mention a lot later on that I do think that a lot of the changes while this movie was coming out led to a worse version of Across the Spider-Verse, but hey, I think that Into the Spider-Verse is just perfection on film. It's quite literally the best adaptation of Miles we've seen in a long time. It has some of the most phenomenal character acting, some of the most phenomenal web-swinging scenes. It is near perfection. The villains are 100% some of the best we've ever seen. The changes to Prowler, the best we've ever seen, so much so that it has almost changed his character in everyone's view massively. Genuinely a phenomenal movie. And it could not have been better. You could not tell this story if you did not tell it from Miles Morales' perspective, in my opinion. Into the Spider-Verse, like my second favourite Spider-Man movie. I have another favourite, and it's not Far From Home, but I have another favourite, but it's a phenomenal movie. So, I think that Into the Spider-Verse is a perfect movie. But before I talk about Across the Spider-Verse, in my latest video, the one that released last week, I said this.
Once again, I bring up the fact that I would love to cover these movies and explain why I don't care for them. If you'd like to get down there in the comments and tell me that you want to see it, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. That will make me talk about these movies.
Now, in this instance, I misspoke. I had assumed that people would connect this to earlier when I had said about wanting to talk about the Venom and other Spider-Man movies, not the Spider-Verse movies in specifics. I kind of overjudged how much people will remember earlier in the video, and so what comes across as me talking about both the Spider-Verse movies, it's not. It was specifically the entire scope of Spider-Man movies, not just Into and Across the Spider-Verse. It was everything as a whole. That being said, all of these videos are unscripted, so it's just me rambling and random little addendums when it's needed. That video didn't have that many, so some of my comments, in hindsight, not that great. I still stand by the fact that the Zendaya skin doesn't look anything like Zendaya. Look at the Dune one, that's her. This one isn't. Okay, but back to Spider-Verse. I also said this about the in-game suits that are specifically from Across the Spider-Verse. I don't really care for Gwen in this look, personally. I like her original outfit, her Ghost Spider outfit. It wasn't originally called Ghost Spider. I like her original Spider-Gwen design from the comics a lot more, and I would have preferred to have seen Fortnite do their own original take on this character before they did the Across the Spider-Verse suit. ATSV Miles, which is also in C tier. Again, same issue. I feel like we could have had a original Miles that would have looked way better. I don't like this movie version of this costume. I don't like this movie version of 2099. I'm just being real here. D tier. And yes, outside factors affect this, but hey, it's a collab skin at the end of the day, and it's collaborating with something that I don't personally rock with. To be honest, I still stand by what I said in the video. I will say, though, I do think that Miles' costume is fine. It's still D tier for me. I still would have preferred to have Fortnite original. But yeah, I would still prefer to have had the comic costumes for both Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales first, over having their movie looks specifically in Fortnite. With Gwen, my issue is still her shading. I'm not a fan of the really bright pink rim light on her, or the fact that they don't use the shading from her actual universe to make her look more like a unique Spider-Man skin. They kind of just did the same thing they did with all the others and do that half-tones thing, and I wasn't a fan of that. I get that's the style of the movie. I get she's in that style for most of the movie. I just feel like what would have brought me more excitement about this skin is if she was styled differently to the other two. If we got three completely separate Spider people in three completely separate styles, I think that would have really worked. The same thing that I don't like about the latter ATSV skins is like with Noir. Again, it's fine that he's in black and white. He looks okay, but again, he's got the halftone thing, and he's got no like unique real styling to him. I know that they're larger halftones, but that's why I ranked Spider-Punk so high. He's such a unique skin, and it pulls so nicely together, and he like looks really, really good and unique. I would not prefer to have his comic version in over this version of the like character. I think it just looks better. It's not to say that his comic version isn't good. It's just I think that they actually did such a good job with this Punk skin that it almost eclipses what you could do with a Fortnite original style Spider-Punk, because we've kind of seen that beaten to death with the Insomniac games. And with 2099, I still stand by that D tier. I do not like the shading on this specific version of the Fortnite skin. It doesn't look the same as it does in the movie. Go back, watch the movie, here's some clips. In the movie, they use the like ink coloring style of what the comics do, where he is mostly black with blue highlights. A lot of the time. Except from times where they do change up the colors, where he is almost a completely different color, but most of the time they keep that really cool, like bright, glowing red over like practically just black. And I think that looks so much better than this Fortnite skin. It's too blue. It's too blue. It doesn't quite, to me, look like this character as much as it should. And his side profile is still fucked. Look at him side profile in the movie. Look at him here. Oof. Still chopped, bro. But moving back onto the movie itself, I still don't like his character in the movie. If you ask me, this still isn't Spider-Man 2099. The original one that we see in Into the Spider-Verse post-credit scene, that's him. This guy, it's not him. It feels like a different character that they call 2099, and we don't even get to see any other 2099 variants. If you say Spider-Man Unlimited, you are wrong. I don't want to be mean. That's rude. But it's the perfect time for a quick STA Spider-Man history lesson so I can flex the knowledge bone that I have on all this Spider-Man stuff. Spider-Man Unlimited is actually Peter Parker, seemingly from the TAS universe, even though it's definitely not the TAS universe, but they'd like you to believe that, who gets sent to Counter-Earth after following John Jameson all the way there, being followed by Venom and Carnage. He ends up on Counter-Earth with this cool-ass nanobot suit, which he steals from Reed Richards, and it has this sick-ass suit-up sequence. But it's not 2099, but it was heavily inspired by him because originally they wanted it to be a 2099 TV show. There's your me flexing Spider-Man knowledge. Anyway, back to the actual 2099 from ATSV. We don't really see any other version of 2099 in this movie. I feel like if we had seen another variant, I probably would have been a bit more down for this characterization, but we don't. I mean, hey, we see his white suit in the background in one scene, but yeah. It just didn't work for me. I don't like this version of the character. I feel he's just too dour, and he focuses so heavily on being such a genuinely terrible and controlling individual, and I get that's the point, but I don't like this being our debut premiere 2099 in a movie. He just doesn't feel like the character, and with how these movies go, he is now what people view as 2099, so when people think of 2099, they're gonna think of this guy, and that, I don't like that. Again, interpretation makes these characters good. I'm just not a fan of this interpretation. If you are, more power to you. I'm glad that you like this version. I just don't vibe with him. My other controversial opinion is that my favourite one is the one from Chat Dimensions, because he's funny. I think now that I am so far removed from thinking about anything surrounding this movie outside of the movie itself, the rating has gone up. It's now like an 8 out of 10. It's still not better than Into the Spider-Verse for me, but that's purely because I think that Into the Spider-Verse is such a perfect package. I still think that this movie would do much better if it had its sequel. But we don't have that yet, so I can't really judge the whole package still. But in terms of what I watched, yeah, I liked it. I was wrong. It's absolute cinema. It's a great movie. I'm glad to admit that I was wrong and that I liked it so much more this time around. But damn if I don't have a bad taste in my mouth than the first time that I watched it. With that being said, we're going to do a little bit of a pro-con sandwich. The con in the center of this pro-con sandwich, I still think it's a lesser version of the movie from the original theatrical release. It is, to me, in my opinion, the digital release and the Blu-ray release, which is what I have, it is a lesser version of this movie because they cut out some specific lines that I really, really think make this movie for me. Yes, they're small lines, yes, they're nitpicks, but those lines were fucking iconic. And if you've only seen the digital release and you've not seen the theatrical release, the first version of the theatrical release, why did they do that? Why did they do that? Why did they crunch their studio so hard too? My god. Just, man, it really hampers the movie. It really does for me. I still love it. I'm still, like, it's up there in the rating. But yeah, they removed some lines. That being this line.
Miles! No! No. Please, no! Miles! God!
This line from Gwen for me is necessary in the movie. It feels like a really big character moment for her. And you can even hear it dip out and then come back in. There's also a mixing issue with this movie, at least with the Blu-ray that I watched. There's a lot of moments where it's either way too loud or way too quiet in certain scenes, and that really threw me off. It's like watching a Christopher Nolan movie. The other line that I think is really important that they cut out, which is this line between Miles and Miguel on the train.
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Sorry, man. I'm going home.
God, that one it hits so hard and it really improves that moment for me. It's so solid. And these moments for me just help to really bind the movie to make it as good as it can be. I'm not saying the movie, is terrible without them or that it's super necessary, like for every single person to have those in the movie. I just prefer this being in the movie. For me, it makes it less of a product for me specifically if they're not in there, because I do feel like they are at least somewhat important to the plot. Gwen's panic in that moment helps to solidify that she is not upset at Miles and that she desperately wants to cling to that relationship without you having to get further in the movie. Yes, that's done through character acting. I just think it's nice to have a tell don't show moment there of her being genuinely so panicked, because it is real genuine panic. And then that moment where Miles says, "I gotta go home, man," to Miguel is just, it's so premium. It just feels like the topper to that moment. It's so good. It almost feels weird not having it in there. It feels like you can feel that the line is cut, to me at least.
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
I know I said I was going to talk more about Into the Spider-Verse, but to be honest with you, I think I've kind of covered all my bases here. I love Into the Spider-Verse. It's almost a perfect movie. I think it is better than Across the Spider-Verse. What are you going to do? That's just my opinion. I don't change my ranking on the skins. I still think they belong where they belong, especially with 2099. It's a fine skin, but it still just doesn't quite feel like the movie version of him, and I still don't really like the movie version of him, so that doesn't really change much in my ranking there. If anything, I'd probably put Miles maybe a tier above into C tier, possibly do that with Gwen as well, but no, I'm going to leave them where they are. I'm pretty comfortable with my ranking on those skins. So, in conclusion, have my thoughts changed massively on these movies? No, not really. I do like Across the Spider-Verse more than I did before, but I didn't ever not like the movie. I just wasn't as massive a fan of it as I was the other one. And I still think its flaws are very, very present. The lack of care with the final edits of the movie and changing so much stuff around towards the end does affect my view on that movie quite heavily. The way they mischaracterize a large number of characters in the movie, they do not do justice to Ben Reilly either. But Into the Spider-Verse is, again, it's perfect. I really can't think of many flaws with that movie. My only major ones being that, Spider-Ham, Penny Parker, and Noir aren't used as much in the movie, but they're not necessary to be used in that movie, so that's kind of a null point. But yeah, these movies are good. They're really, really good. Most of them are better than anything the MCU has given us, even if my favourite one, Far From Home, is the worst one. According to everyone else. You're wrong, that one's great. But no, these movies are fantastic. They're some of the best Spider-Man media we've had in years. Negatives aside on Across the Spider-Verse, it's still a good movie. And if you like that movie, good on you. If you don't like that movie, hey, let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to see why other people don't like this movie. I think I've laid out why I don't like it in this video. It's down to poor handling of how the movie was treated after it came out, terrible handling of the people behind the scenes of the movie, and also butchering of several characters, in case you needed the TLDR. But yeah, two great movies. One, for me, better than the other. But that's all I've got. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know that a lot of people have expressed a deep interest in seeing me cover the movies. I would love to. I will do that after my next two projects, like you heard in the intro. The next one is a Suits wishlist for Fortnite on Spider-Man characters, and the one after that will more than likely be a movie on the Venom game, because I really want to cover that. I've wanted to cover it for a very long time. If you want to see the movies first, let me know. The next video out on this channel will be the Fortnite Suits wishlist. It'll be a little bit of a lesser edited video. Think more the one that if you go to the popular section of my channel, it'll be a bit more like a polished version of the #1 video on my channel, which is my old Suits wishlist. But yeah, look forward to it if you look forward to it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you listen this far into the video, like, subscribe, all that goodness. Thank you so much for listening to me talk about Across the Spider-Verse and how my opinion has changed on it. I'm so glad I like this movie more. Bye-bye!